Means that do it.
Welcome to Air Check. I'm your host, Ty Rose Now. In this second hour, we're going to be featuring Programmer's Digest, Volume 1, Issue 5 of September 25th, 1972. It was narrated by Jim Cooper, WMAK, Nashville, Tennessee. We'll be listening to Bwana Goes Bananas with Bwana Johnny, evening air personality of WWDJ Radio in Hackensack, New Jersey. Then Neil Diamond talks about music and radio. Neil Diamond, of course, from Columbia Records. The morning mayor of Chicago, Wally Phillips, AM air personality, WGN Radio, Chicago, Illinois. After that, around the country with Rick Steele, WIBM Radio, Jack Richards from WKAC Radio, Mike Shannon from WSTP Radio, Ken Douglas, KEEL Radio, Tim Byrd from WIRC Radio, and then the comic strips with Larry Ryan, the PD of KEEL Radio of Shreveport, Louisiana. Then we're going to profile WPDQ, Jacksonville, Florida, with George McGovern and his staff, who was George McGovern was the PD of WPDQ Radio in Jacksonville, Florida. Then those oldies but goldies, Bill Drake at WAKE Radio from 1961 at Atlanta, Georgia. Then the Agony and Ecstasy, Part 4 of Scott Shannon, Program Director of WMAK Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. And then we're going to talk about the Heathkit with Tom Chauvin, Program Director of WHVW Radio of Hyde Park, New York. So enjoy.
September 25th, 1972, Volume 1, Issue 5. The country boy from Hackensack comes on like Bwana Johnny. PD talks with Neil Diamond at the Opry. We tune in the most listened-to man in Chicago. Check talent around the country. George McGovern's staff campaigns in Jacksonville. Larry Ryan has a run-in with a truck. The Time Machine presents Bill Drake with our oldie. Super Shan shares his music philosophy, and Tom Chauvin builds a Heathkit. If you're ready... He swings, he rocks, he just sits there? That he definitely doesn't do. Our man in Hackensack sits across the river from the Big Apple, nightly plugging his foot into the wall socket, turning himself on in glorious color. He's got a line of credits a mile long. The most recent before his association with Pacific Southern was KYA San Francisco. WWDJ will never be the same as Bwana Johnny Goes Bananas.
10:04 in New York City now. Bwana Johnny is here tonight with his multi-talented watchdog, Alfonso. Great watchdog, man. You yell attack and he has one, you know? Straight ahead. Mercy, mercy, mercy on the American populace. What Bwana Johnny 97 WWDJ radio program would be complete without the Beatles, right, Pig? Oh, yeah, you better believe it. A little day tripping around here at night. Well, whatever your scene is, man, 10:07 in the Big Apple. Listen, if you're concerned about your future, like so many of us are, and you're looking for a rewarding career, as so many of us are, I'm one of those myself, may I suggest this to you. Be a New York City cab driver. You know, there are many openings for good drivers. If you can't drive a car, so much the better. You enroll in a special cab driver school held each Monday, then go to work as a cab driver on Tuesday. Figures. You'll not only learn how to drive, how to park by ear, but also how to circle the block, run through Central Park 12 times, and take the longest routes while rattling off the latest basketball and football scores. Now, you also learn how to greet each customer with, "Where to, Mac?" And other great cabbie expressions like, buddy, not in this town. And several choice phrases to use when referring to other drivers also. Now, during the advanced course held Monday afternoon, you'll learn the technicalities of cab driving, including how to start a traffic jam, how to growl about tips, and how to nab the last available parking place in Manhattan. And for those that enroll this week, a special course will be included on how and where to hide your cab when a customer really needs you. So why don't you enroll today in the Bwana Johnny, New York City Cab Driving School? WWDJ. You'll be glad you did. I'll be glad you did, too. I get to rip off a little extra money that way. Hey! It sounds dirty if you ask me. There's obviously some hidden meaning in that. I hope it's relevant to modern society and our ecological environment because, you know, we're all into that. A lot of people asking me if I will be playing my ding-a-ling on the radio tonight. Well, let me rephrase that. If I'll be playing the Chuck Berry recording of ding-a-ling on the radio tonight, yes, I will. Yes, I will. That or that is, whichever you prefer, right, Pig? Right, yes, the theme from Superfly, and Freddy's dead, man. He's gone away. It's your world-famous Bwana Johnny doing my basic act on 97 WWDJ, which, of course, is talking dirty on the radio and trying to pick up chicks on the telephone.
This is 97 Radio News.
Thank you, Bob. Everyone in the listening audience enjoyed that, as well as everyone in the studio audience tonight, including the St. Marymount College for Nuns who are touring the studio. They enjoyed your news drop-in very much, Bob. Just one thing, though. Your fly is open. 97 WWDJ and Bwana Johnny, New York City Dynamite on a Friday night at 10:21. You'll have to forgive me if I don't sound my usual self tonight, but I'm all bruised all over. You see, I had a terrible accident last night when I was trying to go to bed last night and trying to get my pants off. I fell down on the freeway. It's a terrible, unfortunate thing that happens. I was in the back of the 56 Buick, too. I'll give you that much of a hint. New York City, big smash for OJ's backstabbers. They're going to put it to you. Right on. My world-famous Wally, Johnny, 97, WWDJ, New York City environment. Clear tonight with low in the upper. That's a good news. Upper 50s. It's 64 in Central Park.
I went to a garden party. Got to please yourself.
97, WWDJ and Bwana Johnny. I'm on the telephone with somebody right now. What's that, sir? Do I use jokes from listeners? Well, my philosophy has always been I'll steal material from anybody. Even Robert W. Morgan, if he ever comes up with any more clever material. Either that or back to Chicago. You know. What's your joke? What? Did I hear about what? The Polish Olympic team who won a gold medal and took it home and had it bronzed. Sir, that's obnoxious. I won't use that. Oh, I love to play that, man. That's my theme song, Jumpin' Jack Daniels. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right on. Bwana Johnny, sorry to announce that Raquel Welch will not be appearing on the program tonight as promised. She will not be able to do her world-famous juggling act for you. Now, if you'll excuse me, right, Pig? I'm going to step into the other room and correct my engineer who made a serious error earlier. He did not call me Mr. Johnny. Let me step in there. Take that, you dirty rat ragger. That ought to shape him up.
Neil Diamond is one of the most talented and creative recording and performing acts in the business today. His music is contemporary, and he recently played 2 nights of packed houses in the home of country music, the Grand Ole Opry. PD asked Neil, why the Opry?
I just asked to play here because it's a Grand Ole Opry and they're tearing it down and, I wanted to play here before they did it.
And that a group of entertainers are attempting to save the Opry House from impending destruction.
I haven't, but I'm for it. I think that too many of these places that have so much history are torn down, you know. There must be something that they can use it for. It represents a very important part of Nashville's life. It'd be a shame to just tear it down. But I guess they'll do it anyway.
On his move to Columbia Records, he said,
I just went to Columbia because it was right for me to go to Columbia. So I went.
By all standards, Neil Diamond material is considered pop, but was asked if he felt he had any country overtones.
Yeah, I have a lot of country overtones. It's a basis of my music. It was my first love. It was, and it'll probably be my last. I think the music is exposed all over the world. I was exposed to country music for a lot of my life, and I loved it. Grew up on it.
On radio, his thoughts are contrary to many in the music industry. He feels radio is far more open musically than in the past.
Well, I think the difference that I notice is that radio people are more open to new forms of music. When I first started writing, when I was 16, when I was 17, there was one type of music that was played generally on radio, and I think the world was ready for some people like the Beatles to break that whole thing open. And now they're open for just about anything, you know, as long as they like it, which is to me tremendously important.
How long did it take before he was accepted by our industry?
Well, I had to work at it a long time before anyone would accept my music, but once it happened pretty fast.
A great deal of his music is considered to be autobiographical.
Some of it is, yeah. But most songs reflect where the writer is at, you know. Not all of it is autobiographical, but enough of it so that the audience come into a concert and know me pretty well before I walk out on stage, and I like that.
Neil is quitting the road for a 2-year sabbatical. Is the intent to search for creative new directions?
Yeah, but really what I've been planning on doing is getting a chance to contemplate my navel and, you know, change my guitar strings and go from there. I want also to explore and find new directions and understand myself a little better and, you know, hopefully grow a little bit. Get away from it, see it better by getting away from it. And also the road is very, very difficult, and you can't survive on it for too long. I took one of these things about 4 years ago, and it was very good for me. I started to write new special kind of things. I wrote, when I was away, I wrote Holly Holy and Brother Love and Sweet Caroline, and I felt it was good for me. I think this, hopefully, will do the same.
He was asked about his music, and specifically the last 2 LPs, Moods and Stones. Do they signify a definite trend in his work?
I don't know. You know, the music takes me. I don't really take the music. It's not as though I can plan it out that easily. So whatever I write is what I record. But I think that, no, Moods is a one-of-a-kind album. I don't think I'll ever write that kind of an album again. I don't know what my next original album will be like, but I know it won't be anything like Moods.
His first hit, Solitary Man, was the beginning.
Solitary Man broke in San Francisco first. Yes. Then it spread quickly to Los Angeles and died.
Which station in San Francisco?
I don't remember. If I had to guess, I'd say it was KFRC.
And Neil Diamond, a giant in our industry, continues his growth as a creative colossus.
In the Windy City, this man is as much of an institution as Coca-Cola. His name is Wally Phillips, WGN, Chicago. His style is smooth, informal, and definitely one-to-one. He takes advantage of the telephone, knows how to use it, and plays upon some of the most controversial subjects of interest to Chicagoans. His show is well prepared, and we would say he is a lady killer. On the radio, that is.
That's too bad. Well, I give you my sympathy. That's about all I can extend at 17 after 7 in the morning.
Wrong?
Well, a fellow heard me talking about the guy who got a ticket for being parked in his garage. You want to know why he got a ticket? First of all, I said, well, he had a mattress in the back seat, and he got a ticket for reckless sleeping. But I had nothing to do with that. It's just a part of the current campaign. But this fellow says, you think he's got trouble. I'm more of a born loser than he is. I said, what's your name? He says, Hector Squeezy. And I said,
oh, where are you coming up with these names?
I don't have anything to do with his name. His name is Hector Squeezy. And guess what happened to him last night? He had a pin pinned on his chest for 25 years of service. And he's the born loser of the month, according to him, because he's a nudist out at the Ponderosa nudist camp.
How would you like one across your lip?
I wouldn't like it. It's too early. It's 7:17. The temperature is 60 degrees. I got a guy who's in worse shape than either one of them, a friend of mine named Prothero Sequist. You ever meet him?
Who?
Prothero Sequist. He's a friend of mine, and you know what happened to him? He's got the worst thing I guess could happen to any man. He's a female impersonator, and he doesn't know it. So the question is,
how well does a businessman wear flying Continental?
Okay, starting next week, live performances in flight by live magicians on the Los Angeles Expressway. Maybe they can make you and the stewardess disappear together. Wouldn't that be too much? Brought to you by the proud bird with the golden tail. It is 7:19 a.m. I always thought that was Hugh Hefner. It's 60 degrees in Chicago. The wind is south at 10 miles an hour. Humidity is 97%. Where's Sergeant Ed Peterson?
Frankly, we're grounded this morning with a little fog. Good morning to Flying Officer Jim Cavanaugh in Traffic Central.
Good morning, everyone. Here's the Thursday morning traffic rush hour report. Irving Park eastbound from Central all the way to Lakeshore Drive, moving well. And now back to the WGN studios.
Now at Uptown Federal Savings, the most interesting financial institution in Chicago. Now give me that again. It's 7:23. Your turn signal went out?
If your turn signal goes out and you use a hand signal,
Yeah.
can you be given a ticket for using a hand signal instead of a turn signal?
I would think surely not, because as long as you signal, you have to signal, you signal, right?
That's right, but what I was trying to get at is this happened a few months ago, but the idea is they said that your car would be, then you can get a ticket for your car not being mechanically safe.
That's a sticky question, but I don't think you have to have turn signal. Do you have to have turn signals? I should know this on your car. As long as you give a hand signal when you turn, I don't know that you're obliged to have turn
Well, I
signals.
just wonder if some of your viewers may be able to.
Well, the rules of the road book would explain it in detail. And to all the people getting up this morning, they're in on the middle of this controversy about the policemen who want some change in their conditions and are writing tickets to get them. Well, there's a picture on the front page of the Tribune this morning with tickets on all these automobiles, and it says cars parked illegally in the 200 block of East Illinois Street all carry parking tickets. And one answer could be, why not? It's like a little bit pregnant, you know. If the cars are parked illegally, they should get a ticket. But
If you're guilty, you should get the
Right,
ticket.
but
And then if you think you're not guilty, you can always, at traffic court there,
Well,
too.
you know what Confucius said. This is the birthday of Confucius as observed in the Republic of China and Taiwan. You know what he said about that?
What?
Confucius said, businessmen squeeze pennies in office while wives squeeze coppers in kitchen. So it's time to be careful, right?
It sure is.
Thanks.
Okay, Wally.
Millions of people follow the teachings of Confucius, a brilliant philosopher and leader. He also said, he said, only fellow sure to get something from following horses, street cleaner, and you know what he get. It's 7:26. I think millions of Americans will agree with that. I think
millions of Americans find a drink in the Chicago Tribune, a step ahead of the times.
I did not know that, and I admit it, that in the current rules of the road book, there is a state law which obliges you to have mechanical turn signals, right?
That's right.
In other words, you cannot use hand signals. You can use them, but nonetheless, you also have to have mechanical turn signals on your automobile.
Yes.
Huh, be darned. Well, you know what Confucius said about that?
What?
He said, love very funny. Man bite girl's neck because she have pretty legs. He's right. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay. Called Thursday, September 28. Temperature is 60. Some drizzle this morning, partly cloudy with showers and thunder showers
He
this
was
afternoon.
strange.
He was strange, right, Confucius. Well, you're a girl. What do you say?
I'll say goodbye to love.
Programmer's Digest takes a jaunt around the countryside, tapping the line on talent. Rick Steele does 5 to 10 a.m. on WIBM, Jackson, Michigan.
Rick Steele, the Rick Steele Show, boom, boom, the Rick Steele, the Rick Steele Show, boom, boom, the Rick Steele, the Rick Steele Show, boom, 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 boom. Good morning to you.
Okay, let's see how many are awake. Come on now. Everybody up. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning to you. Rise and shine. Come on now. Greet the day with a smile. 6:08 is our time on a Tuesday morning at WIBM. Here's the Doobie Brothers. Listen to the music. Cloudy skies, fog, and 63 degrees outside right now, so watch your driving. Doobie Brothers, listen to the music at 6:11 at WIBM. Good Tuesday morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now, out of bed with you. Rise and shine. WIBM. The chairman of the board of General Motors, Richard Gerstenberg, is paid $750,000 a year. But sometimes he finds himself with a pocket full of nothing. He went to a gas station recently, had his car tank filled up, and he found he had no money with him. Oh, that's embarrassing. He had to leave his wristwatch with the station attendant while he drove home to pick up some cash to pay for the gasoline. Boy, that can be a real pain in the gas, can't it? Well, you know. Good morning.
Jim Batten, in the guise of Jack Richards, guides afternoon drive on WKAC in Athens, Alabama.
Good afternoon, friends. Big Jackson Richards driving you home on a Thursday afternoon. Oh, it's a nice day. Ain't it nice, huh? Oh, isn't it nice? My request, 232-6828, OJ's and Backstabber. What they do? The nerve of them. They smile in your face, and all the time they want to take your place. Of course, the Backstabber version from The Godfather, it goes like this. They throw mace in your face, and all the time they want to take your place. Well, that's not so bad. It's at 3:37 from KAC with Big Jack Richards playing some love. On a Thursday with Bobby Vinton, Sealed with a Kiss. Kiss spelled backwards is sick. And yes, my friends, Mr. Bobby Vinton most certainly is. Send my love every day in a letter sealed with a kiss. I don't know if we'll go through the mail service. It's at 2:40 KAC Radio, Big Jackson Richards, saying good afternoon on you and to you. It's a Thursday afternoon. We got the music till 7 o'clock tonight. Well, it's a Thursday afternoon, my friends. Watch how we do for fun. No, wait a minute. No, this is a GP show. Stands for a goody person on the radio. And this is your all-American freak, your goody person, Jack Richards. That's the Hollies, a long, cool woman in a lukewarm dress. That's right, Luke is keeping the long, cool woman warm. Shame on Luke. Oh, it's 3:46. It's the same Joe. Oh, yeah, Rod, he's the man. That's Rod Stewart from KAC Radio. And you wear it well. Oh, you certainly do. You wear it too well, as a matter of fact. You wear it so well, you're outlined is what you are. Excuse me.
Mike Shannon, WSTP, Salisbury, North Carolina, just outside Charlotte, holds down the night slot.
807 at Non-Stop Music, WSTP. Michael O'Shaughnessy, Shannon, rockin' and rollin'. For Coca-Cola, Underwoods, Fowler Motors, Sam's Quick Wash, Friedman Jewelers, and In Gear, honey, I got a thing about you, Billy Lee. Babe, I dig your bunch. I got a thing about loving you. Billy Lee Riley, 810 at 15 WSTP. This is Mike Shannon. Ray Corbett. Ray Corbett is a dealing man.
15 WSTP.
Hold me, thrill me, caress me, don't ever let me go. From the top of the rock, please go all the way. Raspberries. 816 at 15 WSTP. Michael O'Shaughnessy Shannon with non-stop music and $1 Million Wednesday night. If there's a song you would like to hear, if you would like to make an obscene phone call, if you would like to proposition my body, whatever, why not rap on the rock? The hitline number is really quite simple. 636-1231. Out of the area, add area code 704 and whisper things like,
Ay, qué fiebre hay.
Another of the night creatures is Ken Douglas of KELI Tulsa.
KELI and the Ken Douglas Show tear loose with the king of rock and roll. Got himself messed up in a burning love.
KELI in Tulsa.
10:29 bumper to bumper club time in the rock and roll city. Ken Douglas breaking loose on Saturday night with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young in Woodstock from Deja Vu 1969. 10:32 bumper to bumper club time. 14:30 KELI and the Ken Douglas Show with Jackson Brown from the album Saturate Before Using and Rock Me on the Water. So the Jackson Brown stuff on KELI's Ken Douglas Show and Rock Me on the Water. Says here it's 10:36 bumper to bumper club time.
From Hickory, North Carolina, WIRC, Tim Byrd, young talent on the grow.
Sound of Gail McCormick from 1971, It's a Crying Shame. Tommy Rowe, Jam Up, and Jenna Tights. Double Gold at 5:30, the voice of the valley.
Yeah! WIRC, music to music.
Lady King here, Carol King, and Sweet Seasons.
You know, it's amazing what you'll find just by listening. From the world on the other side of the looking glass comes the Mad Hatter from Shreveport. Oh, sorry. Pardon us while we turn the mirror around for today's clown. Larry Ryan, KEEL Shreveport, on the way to work one morning, told us he'd almost been run down by a pickup truck, a la Easy Rider. What resulted was this comic strip.
It's
Seems that nearly everyone nowadays is driving a pickup truck in Shreveport. And I've often asked myself, what would I do with a pickup truck? I couldn't answer that question, so I decided to ask somebody with a pickup truck that regularly drives by the station. Hey, here comes one now. I'll just run out there to the street and see if I can't flag one down, and I'll talk to the driver.
Get out of the way, you hippie!
We seem to be having a little trouble getting a pickup truck to stop here at the station for the interview, so I'll just hold up this sign here, and the next pickup truck that drives by, I'll just...
Hey, what can I do for you? I'm on my way to work, you know.
Yes, sir, I know. We're taking a poll here at the radio station trying to find out why so many people are driving pickup trucks today instead of, say, economy cars or...
You stopped me here just for this?
Yes,
Well, I should have known something was funny when there was somebody standing out there on the street curb with white shoes on and holding a sign saying, "If you love George Wallace, stop and talk."
Well, I was trying to get an interview with somebody who owns a pickup truck, and I figured that was the best way to get somebody to stop and talk on the radio.
Am I on the radio?
Right, and I must say that is a lovely pickup truck. The colors are green and burgundy.
Raspberry.
Raspberry. Well, any particular reason for these colors, sir?
No, I just wanted something a little flashy. You see these hubcaps there?
Say, they are rather dashing. Tiny wire spokes with spinners on them. Did they come with the truck?
No, I got them from Virgil Snore. He works down at the plant with me. He followed the Corvette 3 days before he got them.
They certainly are beautiful go-fasters. I also noticed that you have carpet on the floor, and the seats are some sort of a cheap imitation Naugahyde.
Right. I paid this little place $34 to get that done. Well, my wife loves it. A little Spanish place across the border we did it. They do it after working hours. You can go in about midnight and they'll have it done by 3 the next morning. If there ain't any interruptions, you know.
You have 2 shotguns in the rear window. Any particular reason?
No, sir. But then you just never know, do you?
About what?
About what might happen. And if it does, I'll be ready. Say I'm driving home at night and I see a squirrel or a deer or a coon. Whatever gets in my way, I'll be ready.
You also have the dashboard decorated with some religious paintings and figurines. Now, what is this?
That is the parting of the waters with Moses and his group. And this here's Lazarus and the raising of the dead. And this little jewel here is my St. Christopher medal.
Just recently, you know, the Catholics declared St. Christopher
I ain't
as...
Catholic, so that ruling don't affect me at all. Besides, I ain't taking no chances.
You have several brightly colored lights on the cab of your pickup and probably some of the cleanest mud flaps I've ever seen.
Right, I take pride in that.
Well, I can see why.
Clean mud flaps just sort of set it apart from the other pickups, don't it? And them lights come in handy sometimes. You'd be surprised how many times a fella uses orange and yellow blinking lights on top of this pickup truck. And them spotlights on both doors, see them? Paid $24 a piece for them. We used both them spotlights the other night. Old boy was fooling around with Kenny Kilboot's sister, you know. So we just scared the tar out of him the other night. We drove up to him while they were out there parked and turned on both spotlights and shoved a shotgun in his window. Told him to get out of the cab real slow like.
I can imagine. What is the giant ornament you have there on top of the cab of the truck?
Pickup.
Right, pickup.
I'm glad you asked that. That's a 3/4 size lifelike statue of Charlton Heston, all decked out there in his white robe, holding them little olive branches in his hand. You see them there? And drilled out them eyes and put little colored light-up eyeballs in that. They shine at night, you know, turn on the lights. And with the colored lights around it, boy, oh boy, you'd be surprised at some of the reactions I get from it.
Such as?
Well, so far this month I've had 1 heart attack, 1 natural childbirth, 3 conversions, and 4 public appearances at revivals around the area. You know, they pay pretty good to drive up to the church after the preacher finishes his sermon and all these people are coming out of the door. Whammo! I drive up with my lights off, turn them on, wham! That's where I had my conversions, you know.
Well, I guess that's about all the questions I have, and I certainly want to thank you for being on the show. And for being my guest, I have for you the complete Merle Haggard album set, 6 albums, volume 1 through 6 of Merle's greatest hit. And thank you once again for being on the show.
You got any Grand Funk records or 3 Dog Night instead of that?
George McGovern and staff are hard at work campaigning for radio listeners in Jacksonville, Florida. George is in love with radio, a romance that is obvious as we review a profile of WPDQ, Jacksonville.
PDQ is a contemporary, stylized type of station. We are personality, and each guy is a separate entity unto his own with a basic sound that carries throughout the entire broadcast day to give the station its sound. My philosophy has always been to communicate with people, somehow, some way. After researching your market and finding out what you're dealing with, what your Factor X is, and you have pinpointed Factor X and you know what you're going for, you program to it, you play up to it, you pamper it, you love it. Our morning man, Bruce Kramer, from 6 to 9, is a bright guy. He talks with the people, and he communicates. He's a lot of fun.
Good morning. It's 6 minutes after 7. 7:06 with Bruce Kramer on Tuesday in the Bold New City. It's a nice morning. It's fair and 77 degrees, and right now, my dear friends, I've got a treat for you. That's right. Donny Osmond sings, and they call it Puppy Love.
And they called it Puppy Love.
Attaboy, Donny. Terrific.
When Lipton blows the whistle.
Good morning, it's 7:12 with Hans and Bruce Kramer. Time once again, ladies and gentlemen, to bring in WPDQ's crack news director, part-time iguana trainer, and the man of 1,000 faces. Here he is, Les Alford.
Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Les. Do we have any little nurdles of knowledge?
Oh, yes, we have one here. You know, first there was women's liberation.
Right.
And then there was gay liberation. Would you believe now there's skinny liberation?
Could you tell us about that?
There is. Barry Goldsmith. He's a 6-foot, 118-pound student at Columbia University.
Yeah.
He's charged that skinny people are America's lost minority.
I'll buy that.
You know what he's doing? He's forming skinny liberation to fight for the rights of thin people. He says we skinny people want to be sex objects, not rejects.
Listen, I'm for skinny folks. After last night, I'll tell you, I'm for skinny folks.
What happened? What happened?
Well, I had a date. You know Trixie Hicks?
No, I don't.
Well, she's a girl from... I had the original blind date, let me tell you.
Yeah.
A real bow wow.
What do you mean?
Listen, this... she had more chins than the Chinatown phone book.
Bruce is followed by Jerry Gordon. Jerry comes to us from WMAX in Boston. In his simplicity, is easily associated with by the listener.
Jerry Gordon. Good morning. It's 9:02 on WPDQ. Got Helen ready to sing a song of the women's liberation. Their creed, of course, as you know, is life, liberty, and the pursuit of bralessness. Helen Reddy with Jerry Gordon on the Jacksonville Giant, WPDQ, 9:05 on a Monday morning.
WPDQ.
One of my favorite groups is Alice Cooper. Matter of fact, I got a letter from a lady on the beach asking, since she hears me talk about music so much, was I ever a musician? Matter of fact, I was. I used to be with a rock group called the Termites. We had a groovy gimmick. We used to eat our guitars at the end of the show. Of course, they had to be wooden guitars. There he is, the first lady of rock with Jerry Gordon on the Jacksonville Giant, WPDQ.
Tommy Charles from noon to 3, and he presents a very nice show. Not slick, but a listenable type of program.
Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, singing about Mama's Pearl, and in my brother's case, it turned out to be a rhinestone. On a serious note, you know over 6 million Americans are suffering from chronic bronchitis.
Jacksonville's Giant, WPDQ.
Well, it's 25 until 2 on Saturday, Jubilee Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. Jerry Reed. Watch out now. The Alabama Wild Man. Gonna take your head off. Got it at Woolworths. That's Jerry Reed, the Alabama Wild Man. Tommy Charles. Oh, the Jacksonville Wild Man on the Giant WPDQ. It's 22 till 2 o'clock. Yeah.
At 3 o'clock, George McGovern from, say, 3 to 5:30. I'm aware of working people going home. From 5:30 until 7 o'clock, I cook a little harder.
Hello, everybody. 3 minutes after 6 from the Jacksonville Giants, WPDQ. Your super jock, George McGovern, husbands, and hold her tight there. And right now, by request, look out. I got 3 Dog Night for you. Yep, the world is made up of black and white. About time we get it all together. Listen.
The ink is black.
Little boys. Little girls. Right, certainly. Danny Hutton, 3 Dog Night by request on the Jacksonville Giants, WPDQ. And your super jock, George McGovern. Speaking of things black and white, there's so much junk around the streets of Jacksonville. We're getting it all together here and trying to clean the place up.
W number 1, PDQ. Hello.
early. Number one in Jacksonville, Gilbert O'Sullivan from the Jacksonville Giants. WPDQ and your super jock, George McGovern, taking care of biz for you, baby. WPDQ presents Bruce Kramer as he gets it all together with Butch Piker and WPDQ's Car 60, mornings from 6 to 9. Listen to Car 60 exclusively on the Bruce Kramer Show, and you don't have to ask your mama. And be a winner on the Jacksonville Giant, WPDQ, as we get it out for you right now. At 13 after 6, as we wind our Mickey Mouse here, and with the OJs. They're all around. Watch out. Yeah, for the backstabber.
Jacksonville's Giant, PDQ.
Jerry Goodwin works a dynamite show from 7 to midnight. Jerry's show is a typical knockdown, drag-out, strong, zany image.
Jerry Goodwin.
Request lines are now open at 356-6011. I'll be playing them exactly as you're saying them. On the telephone, give me a call, baby. Here's 3 Dog now. Black and white, it's 83 degrees in Jacksonville.
The ink is black. Little boy.
And the little girl. It's 3 Dog Night, black and white. On the Jacksonville Giant, WPDQ with Jerry Goodwin all up into your business tonight. Until midnight, mama. We're getting it on. Yes, we are. Yay!
Arid Extra Dry is pleased to announce...
W number 1, PDQ.
That's the biggie in Jacksonville, number 1, Gilbert O'Sullivan. And alone again, naturally. Wait till they find out his real name's Abe Schwartz. Then that's when the trouble's gonna start.
From midnight to 6, Ron Morgan. We get into discussion things, gun control. It could be abortion. Ron selects his subject and opens the phones up to the listening audience.
Good Morgan, PDQ.
This is from the album Carney. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present Leon Russell. That's from the album Carney, Leon Russell, Up on a Tight Road. At 1:36, 24 minutes before 2 a.m. with Ron Morgan. Fair at 76 degrees, currently in the Gateway City. Good Morgan.
W Post Music, PDQ.
Ron Morgan cooking by your request. This is David Gates and Brad. Story all about the guitar man. 14 minutes before 2 o'clock with Ron Morgan, and of course, this is your show on the biggest all-night show on American radio with Ron Morgan. I thought I'd throw that in also. The topic for discussion this morning is gun control, and what do you think? The number's 356-6011. PDQ, what's your name, please?
Rick Sugden.
Rick Sugden?
Yeah, the kid.
The kid. All right, what do you think of gun control?
Well, I think it's kind of hard to...
It's all methodically done. There's certainly nothing haphazard done on the air.
From Bainbridge, Georgia to Los Angeles, a long way down the road with several stops. That's how it's been for America's foremost programming innovator, Bill Drake. Along the way, Bill stopped in Atlanta, Georgia, working for Wake Radio. It was rocking and a strong factor in the Atlanta market. The Programmer's Digest time machine flips the calendar back to the year 1961, revealing the sound of a growing giant.
Jarmels and a little bit of soap. Right now, 23 wake minutes past 11 o'clock.
Atlanta.
You're 7 away from the Wake News Watch here on Radiant Radio. Going to be fair, not quite so hot. This afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow, the expected high today, 87 degrees. Going back now to 1959 once again. Sammy Turner and a golden record called Lavender Blue. Lavender Blue, Sammy Turner on Wonderful Wake, 25 past 11 now. Wake Radiant Radio time, these are the coasters. This is the Wake News Watch. It's 11:30 in Atlanta. This is Sunday's 15th edition of the Wake News Watch, and that's a Wake News Watch.
I'd like to thank the guy.
That's Barry Mann and Who Put the Bomb, up to number 29 this week on the official Wake It Parade, bringing us around now to 23 Wake minutes until high noon. In the wide and wonderful, we have 82 Wake degrees. And, of course, at high noon on Wake Weekend, hit parader Paul Drew.
It's okay till payday. Your credit is okay with K.
From the all-time Wake Hit Parade. present $1 Million Music. Golden record from 1960 in the Wake It Parade done by Jack Scott. It's called Burning Bridges. You're tuned to Wake at 1340. Candyman, that's Roy Orbison, big number 10 on the Wake It Parade at 17 Wake minutes now until high noon. That's Radiant Radio time on Wake Weekend. Now, this is Roy Hamilton. Don't let go. That's Roy Hamilton and a golden record called Don't Let Go. To hear more music on Wake, this is Gene Pitney with Every Breath I Take. That's Gene Pitney with Every Little Breath I Take. This week, it's survey song number 42 on the official Wake It Parade at 11 Wake minutes until high noon. This is Atlanta's $1 Million Sound. Wake's $1 Million Music. Jimmy Charles and $1 Million to One. Another great golden record. That one from last year on the Wake It Parade. Right now, 8 minutes until high noon. Wake Weekend showtime, still 82 degrees on the outside. Of course, at high noon on Wake Weekend, then comes hit parader Paul Drew, so stand by for that. Gonna be fair, not quite so hot this afternoon tonight on Monday. High this afternoon, 87. Low tonight, 64. High tomorrow, 86. Right now, 82.
Now, children, we're going to hear the poems that you wrote last night.
Got up now to 84 degrees in Atlanta.
WAKE.
And here's a brand new one by Dwayne Eddy. That's Dwayne Eddy and his brand new one called My Blue Heaven. And right now, 3:30 till noon, wake time, 84 degrees in Atlanta.
Part 4 of The Agony and the Ecstasy continues to explore the tight music playlist factor. The program director of WMAK Nashville, Scott Shannon, discusses how it was, how it is, and why.
The tight playlist probably came into being because of people abusing the long playlist. They would start adding records as a favor to somebody, or because they dug that particular record, or for a number of reasons. And from there, you got a lot of unfamiliar records. You got a lot of records on a playlist that never did become hits. Of course, you can't avoid an occasional misjudgment of a hit, because a lot of stations will go on a record on the strength of another station going on a record. For instance, if a promotion man called us and told us that so-and-so was on a record, you know, on LS or Waze and KJR and Kilt and so on and so forth, that doesn't really mean it's a hit yet, because a lot of times a record will come out, for instance, that Python Lee Jackson record. That thing came out and a lot of people went on the record. I'm not saying it didn't sell, but it was not a hit for us here in this market. But by the same token, a lot of stations played it, so sometimes you can't go by the stations playing records. You have to wait and see if the sales are there. I don't mind being criticized for having a short playlist. I couldn't care less if somebody calls and says, hey, you guys have a reputation for being late on records. It doesn't bother me in the least, because I know that I've got a very, very strong music director who's very much aware of what's going on in most of the markets in the country, especially the key markets that we watch, which just happen to be Seattle and Houston. Those are the two markets that we pay the most attention to, and of course Augusta we think an awful lot of. But I couldn't care less what people think about our type playlist, because I have and we have, as a radio station, an obligation first to the people of the city, and we like to give them proven hit music, which I think, I know it sounds perhaps a bit unhip or whatever, but that's what I like to have on the radio station. That's what I think wins. And you can have a playlist of 100, 200 records, and you can break a lot of hits. Yeah, you can get a reputation as a music director, a program director, of breaking a lot of hits. You can have so on and so forth. But if you look at the markets that have a reputation for breaking a lot of records, especially some of the smaller key markets, you look back at their surveys and you'll see many, many more records that didn't make it than did make it. Sure, they can pick a hit, they can pick bombs just as well. And I feel that's an injustice to their listening audiences. Sure, they're still number one in their market, but it's sure not because of their music. It's because possibly of a competitive situation, possibly because of a power situation, or maybe their promotion. Maybe they spend a lot of money on jocks. That's not the only way to be known music.
Do you think that the type playlist will loosen up because of FM?
I don't think so, because the FM playlists are pretty tight. At most of your successful FM stations, your playlists are very tight. I don't think that's going to have anything to do with it. Now, some markets can have a looser playlist than others. We have a tremendous amount of flexibility in our playlist. Somebody says, "How many records do you play?" Hell, I don't know how many records we're going to play. If there's periods as time goes along that we'll play 42 records. We may play 6 album cuts. We may play 15 album cuts. It all depends on the music. You can't. I think it's wrong to say, well, I'm going to have 45 records on my list. I'll drop 5 a week, and I'll add 5 a week, because therefore you find yourself looking for hits, and I think that's wrong.
The controversy will continue. We'll continue to go in circles at seminars over differences between the music industry and radio. But it's a situation all parties must learn to live with, while maintaining a fair and professional attitude mixed with concern for the other. Tom Chauvin, program director, WHVW, Hyde Park, New York, says early this past summer he'd read some articles about British Prime Minister Heath and the problems that come with being an unmarried statesman. What ensued was a tongue-in-cheek spoof in the guise of a legitimate spot written on the spur of the moment by Tom and aired.
If you're the mother of a young lady with a less than active social life, this could be the ray of hope you've been looking for. One of the world's foremost political figures and most eligible bachelors needs a companion to accompany him to affairs of state and other important social functions. Here's a golden opportunity to hitch your wagon to a star, to help your daughter realize all the promise and glory that goes with being Great Britain's second most prominent lady. Someone will have to win soon, so you should get your entry in right now. Send your reason why you should be chosen for this rare opportunity in 25 words or less, and enclose a recent snapshot of yourself. Address Prime Minister Edward Heath, 10 Downing Street, London, England. All entries become the property of Mr. Heath. None will be returned. Enter now. You could be chosen Mrs. Heath, or something like that.
His jocks fan the flames of subtlety with such things as this comment from Dave Hellerman.
Steppenwolf from 1968 and Born to be Wild. Girls, a reminder, get that picture and resume at 10 Downing Street in England. Time's running out for you and Mr. Heath. Dave Hellerman at WHVW, it's 5:57.
The British Information Office in New York asked that a copy of the promo be sent Mr. Heath, as they had received a dozen or so applications, complete with photos for the position, and the Prime Minister was interested in what was going on. Later, the BBC ran the promo with the particulars, and much to Tom's relief, Prime Minister Heath and the British people accepted the announcement in the spirit in which it was intended. Another international incident averted. PD is interested in sharing the wealth of information and ideas available across the country. If you care and want to share your work and ideas with fellow broadcasters, submit your materials, air checks, promos, commercials, contests, or whatever to Programmer's Digest, Post Office Box 15721, Nashville, Tennessee, 37215. This is the Voice of Broadcasting, the world's first audio magazine. For Programmer's Digest from WMAK, Nashville, this is Jim Cooper.
That was Volume 1, Issue 5 of September 25th, 1972 of Programmer's Digest, audio and audio magazine. Here we go with the next hour. We're going to go into the next hour, which will feature Volume 1, Issue 6. Of October 23rd, 1972, so I'll see you the next hour.